Greg Barnes is here. How are you?
I'm great.
He's the newly minted chairman of the Fort Bend GOP. You know, in the back of my mind, I thought for sure the first time we would break in the new podcasting studio here, you know, it would be a friendly, easygoing, getting to know you kind of thing. And that didn't really happen, did it?
Well, it's kind of been like my tenure as county chairman. I thought I would ease into this, but kind of got slapped in the face right off the bat.
And you weren't the only person that happened to.
No,
either.
No.
Much like Daniel Wong, who is our interim county judge right now.
Correct. May I correct you on that?
Yes.
He is not the interim county judge. He is the county judge.
Yes, he is the county judge.
On an interim basis.
One way or another. Let's not split hairs over something like that. But he, much like you, kind of got thrust into this job because you weren't supposed to jump into this role for a little while.
I was not. I was actually, my official term began mid-June. But due to some unforeseen circumstances, some of which included Judge Wong, I got thrust into the role back in April. Bang! Welcome to be county chairman.
And I guarantee it was a baptism by fire, given all that was going on.
Absolutely.
I run into friends of mine, and we bring up county politics. There is so much in the way of confusion, and I hope that we kind of fix a lot of that today. I mean, there are people that are aware of concerns. They know there's problems, but they really don't know exactly what's going on. So let's get right to boilerplate things here. And the first thing is this county judge race.
We want to talk about the race or how we got to where we are today?
Well, maybe both.
Okay. Well, let's start off with just the basic county judge race. It is on the November ticket. We've been through the primary season. Both sides had a very robust primary, multiple candidates. And it has boiled down to the two left standing, which is Judge Wong, or at that time, Daniel Wong.
Candidate Wong,
and Dexter McCoy, who is sitting county commissioner for Precinct 4.
When he shows up.
More about that later. So back in April, our, at that time, current county judge, KP George, was under a legal case, a civil case, regarding an action between him and a Democrat activist. I want to stress that, a Democrat activist, because it's going to become important later. So when that case came to trial, the sitting judge at that time agreed with the young lady that filed the suit and said that his actions were illegal. And not only was he granting her motion, but at the same time he removed KP or suspended him from his role as county judge. His stance was, since he was a sitting Republican county judge, that the right thing to do was to replace him with a Republican person to fill out his term. Since Daniel had won the primary, the logical choice was Daniel Wong. Now, Daniel had no idea that it was coming.
I believe that, too. Sounds to me like he was as surprised as everyone else.
He actually was. We were getting phone calls on Sunday night and saying, I just got a phone call from Channel 13 saying I'm the new county judge. Does anybody know anything about this? And we're all completely in the dark going, I know, we don't. And literally over the weekend, he was appointed county judge, and Monday morning he had to show up to be sworn in and figure out how this job worked, and literally was thrown into the fire. Now, I will say this. Daniel Wong is a good man and an honest man and one of high moral character, which you hear that about a lot of politicians. I get that. But in this case, it's very, very true.
Yes, it is.
The thing that I've really admired about what Daniel has done in this really trying time is he came in and said, hey, look, okay, I'm going to come in here and do the job for the people of Fort Bend County, not as a Republican candidate. I'm going to find out about the county. I'm going to find out how everything works. I'm going to look at how everything is spent. And he literally has been working night and day looking at how the county operates and what can he do to make things better, hopefully working with all of the commissioners. And that lasted about one meeting before the attack started. And very political attacks. And it's very sad. It really is.
What's sad to me is that so many people who really don't know about this man's background constantly argue he has no experience in this. Well, A, he does.
Oh,
He did 3 terms on the city council in Sugar Land. And if you want to look at the man who really behind the scenes, which I think is how he would kind of like to do this job here in the city of Sugar Land that ushered in all that growth, it was not whatever mayor happened to be in there at the time. It was Daniel Wong. And I learned this about him 30 years ago. And that's what really impressed me. Matter of fact, I had largely stepped away from what I would call the public view. I wasn't working locally on the radio anymore. I didn't really know if I had a place in the county anymore other than just being a tax-paying resident. When Daniel Wong announced that he was running for county judge, I picked up the phone. I said, long time no see. I hadn't seen him in 20 years. And I said, please come to my offices in the Galleria. Let's sit down. Let's talk about this, because I was really excited about it. Of course, no one could predict what in the world was about to happen to that guy. No, and I can only imagine the pressure that he is under just to perform the job, much less take on these attacks, these terrible attacks that are really dragging down the business of the county, and they stretch across political lines because everyone is being impacted by this.
Yeah, and this is the sad part. You've got an honest, high moral guy in there who just wants to do the job for the people. He'll do the job that he was, I don't know whether you would say given. He was given the job by a court, but appointed. But a lot of strain. A lot of people would have said, no. I'm not ready for that, so go get someone else in the interim. I'm not qualified. I'm not this. I'm not that. Daniel stood up like, using an old redneck term, he stood up like a man. Mm-hmm. He said, "Yep, I'll do it. I'll take this task on, as hard as it may be." People need to understand Daniel is an extremely successful businessman.
Boy, no kidding.
Runs a huge engineering firm that he literally built from scratch. This isn't family money. This isn't stuff that he was given or he didn't earn. He earned everything. He's an immigrant from Macau, I believe it is. Came to this country literally with dollars, very few dollars in his pocket, and spoke zero English and came and said, "I want to be a part of the American dream." And I'm a big believer in legal immigration, and someone coming to this country. I'm fortunate enough, you're fortunate enough to have been born here. Mm-hmm. That's a great thing. America's a great country. But people who looked at the American dream and said, I want some of that. I can be of value to America. And that's where my dreams lie. And they go through and they do things legally and they do it correctly. And then they hit the ground and they start working and working hard. They put in the time, the study, the hard work to become a citizen and raise their hand and say, yes, I am proud and want to be a citizen of the United States of America. You and I didn't have a choice in that. We're just American citizens
because we were born here. Thank goodness.
Daniel Wong made an arduous journey from Macau over here with nothing in his pocket to attain that American dream, did so, and then said, what a great place. Can I make this permanent, please? He chose to be an American. That's powerful stuff.
You talk about powerful things with him. He told a great story when I sat down with him the very first time about becoming a Christian, how someone realized from the second the guy stepped off the boat that he needed that light in his life, and he completely and totally committed to the faith. And it's not an act. So many people, I think, in politics want to craft these versions of themselves, and that's just not the way he is. And I remember I was proud of him when he got the interim role, when he was appointed to the judgeship. And so I packed the courtroom with a lot of other people that day and watched him be sworn in. And I remember that his son and his son's wife were like me. They sat on the very back row. I typically sit on the very back row of things because I'm a big guy. I'm a tall guy. I don't want to obstruct anyone's vision.
I don't have that problem.
Had I been his son, I thought for sure he would be on the front row. But instead, he wanted to let the constituents and the other people experience that. But I was sitting right next to him. And I kind of reached over and just touched him on his arm because I wanted to point out something that his dad was doing. And I couldn't figure out why I was being ignored. And I glanced over, and his son and his son's wife were praying and crying.
Yeah.
It was that moving to them. And then it became that moving to me that this was all reality. This was happening right then. Of course, another reason that he might have been crying was he had to take over Dad's company. And he, too, got 60 hours worth of notice that his job was going to change fundamentally.
Yes, yes. And this is a huge reason why I'm a big fan of Daniel. And I won't break his wishes here today, but I cannot tell you, and it would blow your mind, the acts of kindness that man has over the years has done for people and for his church and for his community, and the money he's donated to different causes and helped people out. But you never hear Daniel in front of a TV screen or on the radio or on a podcast saying, yeah, I did this for this guy and I helped this church out. You'll never hear him say that, because for him it is a true act of service, and it's a part of his Christian nature and his Christian obligation to help others. And he's true about it. It's not something that's just an act, and that's admirable.
One thing that I don't think was admirable at all in this little tug of war over who's the boss at the county right now was the attempt by the county attorney to essentially fire this man and usher him out of the office with the support of Grady Prestige and Dexter McCoy, the two Democratic county judges. Now, I heard about this, but again, being a broadcaster, and I think a responsible broadcaster as well, I wanted to verify that these things were true.
Sure.
And it wasn't until I read about them from a number of what I consider to be very reliable news sources that I realized what I heard was true, that they had attempted to cut off his communications, restrict his access to the vital tools in which he needed to do his job. And then these people drug county employees in the middle of all this and said, you do this, you do this, you do this. And by the way, these are, I would think, by and large, county employees that have never dealt with the county attorney one-on-one ever, and likely never would. Yet they're supposed to take orders from those people. And you know what? A lot of these people that are working in county government probably do it because it was a job. You know, they could get an IT job somewhere else. Maybe this fit their lifestyle, fit their commute. Maybe they felt like they needed to do some sort of service to their county. For them, it's just a job. And to put them in the middle of all of that, I cannot imagine what type of stress and strain and oh my God.
It's a horrible thing to put people's livelihoods, and let's don't make any bones about it. They have put people's livelihoods in jeopardy. They have said to a county employee who, like you said, has zero to do with this. They're just working stiffs like you and I.
Just doing their job.
Doing their job. They want to come do their job, go home, have dinner with the family, go out on the weekends, play a little golf, play with the kids, whatever. They're not interested in politics. They could care less about politics. They're just doing their job. But these people have put them right square in the middle of a political move, which is completely unfair to start with, has endangered their livelihoods. They're scaring these people. Now, why in the world would you do that? Like I said, this is total politics. So you kind of had the story right up to where, you said that the county attorney went to, and I believe the sequence is the county attorney went to the HR director and said, cut off all this access. Now, mind you, there was no notification sent to Judge Wong or any of his staff saying, we're going to do this. I'm not a lawyer, but I got to think that you got to send them something saying, hey, we're fixing to do this. Or you would get a call from HR, or you would get a call from somebody saying, as of noon today, we're cutting off all your access. And here's why. No consideration of that. No notification. No discussion with the two Republican county commissioners. No discussion. They knew of nothing about it.
Wow, I did not know that part.
No. Yeah, this was a complete and total blindside. Once again, a political move. As it started going down the line, thank goodness, there was a lady, and I'll reserve her name because I don't want to embarrass her, because she is in some danger, and here's the bad part of that. She is in danger because she pushed back and said, oh, wait a minute, I don't think this is legal.
Is that particular person Are they supposed to answer to
No.
the county attorney? I mean, this really comes down to who in the hell is the boss?
Right. So when this came down to this person, they said, well, wait a minute, I think you got the sequence wrong. Mm-hmm. People need to be notified. This is you just can't just do it. There's a way to do it.
Well, I would imagine there are policies and procedures in place. Yeah,
all things. With any government entity, there's a mile of paperwork to do anything.
Of course, there is.
If you're going to go get a box of Kleenex, there's 45 forms of in triplicates you've got to fill out. You put these people the farther down the line it went, and you had to have somebody in IT that literally pulled the plug. And now you're saying I am involving you, day-to-day worker,
working stiff
in my shenanigans, and I'm putting you right in the middle of that potential lawsuit, action from the state, whatever it is. You are putting that working stiff, day-to-day Joe right square in the crosshairs. And that's wrong. That is just wrong.
Well, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but this brings up another question or two. I've got friends that work in the county. I've got a real good friend of mine that works over at Road and Bridge. I've got someone that works in animal control. If they do not follow policies and procedures, they are disciplined.
Correct.
Who disciplines these people that are getting out of line? Who do they answer to?
Good question. Do you think we should find that out?
I would love to find that out.
I would love to find that too.
It's no different than these county commissioners that have decided to walk out on their job. They've now had 2 meetings where they haven't shown up. I think they've got another one scheduled here before too long. If my friend that worked at Road and Bridge did not show up to do his job, he would be fired.
He would be fired. But like I say, it's worse than that. If you're the owner of Road and Bridge and you decide not to show up, it's your company. You can do whatever the heck you want to. Mm-hmm. If you're the manager of Road and Bridge, you got one guy to answer to, the owner. But what about you're the guy out there with a sledgehammer breaking up concrete? And the owner of Road and Bridge says, stop, I don't want you to do this anymore. And the manager says, no, we have a contract. We have an obligation to get this done in this time frame. Keep hammering. I told you to stop. No, I told you to keep going. This guy's looking at him going, I'm going to get fired by one of these guys. Mm-hmm. It's a complete no-win situation for that county employee right now, because this person's saying, you will do this. My boss is saying, no, you won't. What are they to do? You're going to send them home that night to the kids and have them, sitting there around the table going, I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to quit. I'm going to get fired. Something's happening to our lives.
And you think about everyone else that works in the various county departments that are now thinking, am I about to get drug into this too?
Absolutely.
Because it really could involve so many more departments if this continues to drag on.
It filters down throughout the entire county. Not only is just the work and what is right and what is wrong, but the attitudes of people working in the county. At some point in time, you've been in business for years, I've been in business for years. So much of the success of any company you work for, so much of the success of the county operations is based on the morale and the attitude of the employees of that organization, regardless of what it is. But if you get up every morning and you go to work and go, you know what, they don't care, and I'm watching them to see how my attitude should be. They've got an I don't give a poop attitude. Why should I care? That didn't get done today. What do I care? He doesn't care.
Now, you mentioned signed contracts and obligations. Mm-hmm. We need to let people know that we're actually filming this on a Saturday, but just today, I noticed that there was something from the county judge's office where they have now drug up the paperwork and the literal hand of God over this entire Daniel Wong appointment. And in fact, Dexter McCoy and Grady Prestige, who are doing all they can to kick Daniel Wong out, did in fact swear, affirm, agree, sign, seal, deliver. Yes, you are the county judge, and put a date on it of December the 26th. Yet now they're saying it's illegal, you have to leave, get out.
That is exactly correct.
Okay, how does this even go forward? And where does this end?
Now, here's the sad part. This is. I mean, for the people that are listening to us, we're once again, we are not lawyers.
No.
We are not politicians.
We're just trying to make sense of
it. We're just trying to make sense of all of it. So let me give a little dose of reality here. This one sues that one, this one sues back, and blah, 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 and it's in the court. and the judge is hearing, and they're doing their thing and whatever, and this side wins, and they go, well, I don't like that. Well, I'll just file an appeal. So I file an appeal over here. That goes up the system. How long does that take? I don't know, 6 months, a year? And it goes on and on and on. They will not settle this. I promise you. They will not have a final settlement on this. I'm going to guess here, just seeing court cases in my life, 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think this could get to court before election. Then I would assume at that point, does it become a moot point or no?
I think it does. And look, you're once again, that goes back to playing politics with something that's it's going to get settled in November whether you like it or you don't.
Right.
As it should be, the voters are going to decide, and that's where it should be. The Democrats have forgotten that a lot lately. Have you noticed that?
I think they are off their footing a little bit.
A little bit. They ran a presidential candidate that they picked. Don't ever forget that. They had another guy that got voted in to run for office, right? But then they decided that he wasn't fit. I tend to agree with them, but the answer is not to have a special election or some kind of system where the people get to say, I want this person to be my candidate. No, they said she will be candidate. You don't have a say in this. This little situation in Maine that just happened.
Boy,
exactly.
I am
the same
watching
thing.
that one very closely. You know, for those who are watching that don't know, maybe are unfamiliar with my background, I'm a syndicated radio host, and I have a show that, believe it or not, is wildly, crazy, stupidly popular in Maine. I make appearances in Maine about every other year and have for 20 years. They love me there.
Oh, I love Maine.
They really, and it's a beautiful place.
Beautiful place.
But I have watched that race. I've watched this particular candidate, and who knows by the time this gets edited up and posted, it may all be settled out. But staring at it on a Saturday, looking at his quote-unquote official announcement on Monday, there could still be a mess in that race as well. But, you know, even he is saying the people must decide, and don't let the Democrats step in and shove someone down the people's throats. And that looks like it could happen.
Unless they change their mind between now and Monday, Tuesday, whenever they have to deadline it. They've already made their choice. They've said, we are handpicking 600 delegates from around the state of Maine. I think there's almost as many people as in the state.
Yeah, it's not a big place.
But they are handpicking 600 people who will get together and have a mini convention. And those 600 people will select who the next candidate is.
So again, the people's
voice doesn't matter. Let that sink in. Look, I'm an unabashed Republican. I'm a conservative. I make no bones about it. But if I was a Democrat right now, you keep hearing about these No Kings rallies. You know what? The only ones that are acting in that manner are saying that you don't get a choice, Mr. John Q's public, are the Democrats.
Yeah.
It's not up to them. It is up for the people with the vote. Anyway, back to our little local world. This is something that will get settled in a court of law. My guess is they will file. There's already been some lawsuits or some attempts at lawsuits filed. They'll bounce around and everybody will huff and puff and everything. And eventually they'll get settled out. They'll probably, after November, get dropped because they don't have any point then. They've selected a new county judge. It won't matter. But the state law says you voted it in, and this was a new development with all the commissioners raising their hand and saying, I agree that Daniel Wong is the county judge through the end of the year. They said that, all 5. So what's the problem? There was a judge. People say, well, they dropped this. I said we'd get back to this Democrat activist lawsuit. Don't think for a minute that wasn't planned.
Oh, it was definitely engineered. It had
to get KP out.
Right.
The idea was when they got KP out, what was, I think, and I have no way to know whether this was true or not, the idea was for him to get removed from office. They would operate with 4 through the end of the year. The law says that in that case, that the county commissioners would vote on a replacement to fill the unexpired term. It's a 2-2 vote, so they could not come to an agreement, and I suspect they never would have.
No.
So they would operate with 4 through the end of the year. Easy peasy. The only problem is this judge said, no, we got to have somebody in that office. And if you read the Constitution of Texas, That's a very true statement. And there's all sorts of little bells or whistles, but bottom line, the commissioners in this county said, yes, he is our judge through the end of the year. They voted on it. They agreed to it. It's done. If you want him out, fine. Go to court, make it happen. But it's not going to happen before November.
Yeah, and I think if it happened today, I think that Daniel Wong would let the chips fall where they may.
He's already said it.
Yeah.
He said, look, I believe
let
in
the
the rule
decide.
of law.
Yeah, let the court decide.
But meantime, this county has got to operate.
So do you think that Prestige and McCoy will continue to hold their breath and stomp their feet through November? I don't think they can do that. At some point, there has to be something that steps in or activates or kicks in that says show up or get out.
There is a law. There is a clause. I shouldn't call it a law because I'm not sure it's a law, but it is a statute that says if you abdicate or your position and without good reason, without good cause, then there can be a request made, I guess a petition, or the judge can step in and say, you're out. I think that's a big step. Once again, whether I like them or I don't, the people elected Grady, they elected Dexter. And I'm not one to just lightly say, you get to go to the house. I don't like that. So, but yeah, the statute is out there. I'm hopeful. I truly am hopeful. As much as I find their actions right now to be wrong-headed and in my words, disgusting because of the damage it's doing to the people of this county, I still want them to come back. We need to conduct business. Now, the reason, for those of you who are not aware, we did have a commissioners court meeting last Thursday, and there was a misconception because we never got to bring it to the beginning of the meeting because you have to have 3 there in person to have a quorum.
Quorum, right.
Now, key word, in person. Andy Myers, who was on a scheduled vacation in Florida with his family, as guess what? People are allowed to take vacations.
Yes, they are.
But Commissioner Myers was sitting in his hotel room on Zoom trying to do his duty as a county commissioner, made that effort while the grandkids are all playing in Disneyland, but they can't show up for a meeting. Now, because he was there via Zoom, he didn't count as one of the 3 in person. So they had to cancel the meeting.
But I think it was at least a good, solid gesture on his part that he was willing to go and do the work of the county if allowed.
Absolutely, yeah. Andy Myers always steps up. He and Vincent are first-class guys. Dexter McCoy, here's a revealing fact, Dexter McCoy is my county commissioner.
He's my county commissioner.
Yeah, and guess what? I have never, quote-unquote, disliked Dexter. I find him to be a very engaging guy.
Oh, he's a charismatic dude. I've said it time and time again.
But that is probably one of the main reasons why I am so disappointed in him right now, because I think and I have thought in the past that he was a better man than this, that he would conduct the business of this county and keep the politics off to one side. I understand what he's doing. I understand what Grady's doing. I understand what the county attorney. It's pure politics. I get it. I'm a political animal too. Play the games, knock yourself out, go for it. But not while we're trying to run the county. The people of this county deserve better. They deserve your full attention for, hey, how about this? 3 hours every other Thursday. That's it. Just show up and do the business of the people.
I'll double down on that a little bit and say, I'm paying them to do this job.
That is correct.
If I elected them or not, and not just one of them, all of them.
All of them.
And paying through the nose in taxes. You know, that's the one thing that I think a lot of people started paying more attention to, especially after COVID. Maybe the checks weren't as big as they used to be. Maybe they had to kind of look at different ways in which to earn a living. You start scrutinizing every dollar that goes out of your bank account, every check that you write, every expenditure that you approve, and you go, my God, am I really paying this much in taxes? And then if you decide to dig a little bit deeper, you ask yourself the question, where is this money going? And that's when I think I started to get a little bit more critical with Dexter McCoy. When I see the taxes jacked up the way they are, how unbelievably expensive things are. You would assume if you're paying more, you're going to see more. But it seems to me that while the money is going out, it's certainly not going out to things that I think would benefit the county the best. I'll give you a grand example of that so few people have seen, is that monument that was built in Kendleton.
It's a beauty, isn't it?
It is absolutely gorgeous. That park is beautiful, kind of a rare gem. But again, in a town that has less than 500 residents, off the beaten path, my first thought was, and again, the numbers, I've heard on one end 10 million, I heard 13 million. You have put $13 million into a very nice structure out there in a city where even their own city government is run out of a trailer.
That's correct.
So it's like you turn left off the freeway to go to the beautiful $13 million monument, or you turn right and glance off to the abandoned Texaco station to go into the trailer where they are conducting city and county business. And I'm thinking, why would you not make an investment in infrastructure in a part of the county where it is inevitable that the growth is coming? You're not going to stop it with anything. But yet, here we have a $13 million monument. Can we afford to spend that much money on it? I'm certainly not trying to take away the reason for it, why it was built, who it's dedicated for, what it represents. I get every bit of that. But was that something we needed to spend my money, your money, their money, the county money on?
Well, I personally don't think so, but I'm with you. Disclosure time here. I drove out yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah. And I thought, I just want to see, people are using it. You can help justify it by saying, people are enjoying it, or going out and making it a centerpiece of going out on the weekends and taking advantage of the park and the monument and everything. So this was middle of the afternoon on a Saturday. It had rained earlier in the day, so it was actually pretty pleasant temperature-wise, a little cloud cover, so the heat wasn't an issue. There was one nice little family down by, there's a little lake in the very back, and they were down there fishing and having a little picnic lunch.
I didn't know about that lake until I went down there myself.
Yeah. And then up around, before you ever got to the monument, there was a little pavilion kind of area, and there was someone there, probably 20 people, looked like either a birthday party, family reunion. Great. I'm glad they're enjoying the park. Not one soul, not one, was in this beautiful new monument. Beautiful parking area, beautiful $6,000 benches, not a soul. And I'm thinking, what more pleasure could you have brought to the citizens of that community if you had given them a softball field, or you had given them swing sets for the kids, or a better playground?
Well, for $10 million, they could have built a new city hall and a recreation center. I mean, there's so many things that could have been built.
So then you drive around Kendleton, to your point. Kendleton is a very poor little community. A lot of people with need out there, and true need. It's not a people that just are not not working or not trying. Those people try. They're out in the middle of nowhere, literally. This is homestead folks, and people have been out there. Their families, their family's family.
That's pretty rich history.
Very rich history
when you look into it.
Yeah, good people. People as we used to say, people of the earth. They farm there, they've lived there, they've raised their family there. They're good people of the earth, and they do need help out there. They need some more support, but a monument ain't it. What economic development wise, what could it have been done if you had invested, let's say, half the cost of the monument in just getting a company to come out there, giving a tax break or whatever, to have somebody come out there that had jobs? What could it have done if you had gone to every swinging soul in the city of Kendleton, 500 people, and you just said, look here, no questions asked. Here's a little money. Here's a
little economic stimulus.
Little economic stimulus. Pay a bill, put it in a savings account for your grandkid, whatever you want to do with it. Here's $500 a piece.
There's a drop in the well compared to a $13 million monument.
Absolutely. So I'm tired of the lip service of, look what we're doing for you. Look what we're going to do to help you. Look what all these great and grand things. Okay, well, you built me a monument. Super. Thanks, appreciate it. What are you doing for me and my family? That has not changed the economic well-being of one person in Kendleton. It has not improved their lot in life. I'm just saying, hey, how about we help the people here for a change? What a unique idea that might be.
That was my thought when I went out there.
It's glaringly obvious.
You mentioned the $6,000 bench, which is one of the more questionable expenditures.
Having them put into my front yard right now.
Is that, you really?
Four of them.
Buy 4 of them?
Yeah, 6 out, one on each corner.
I was noodling around on Facebook, as I do from time to time, and came across something that I thought was a great comparison. And it was basically someone that was comparing a $6,000 bench that was placed out there at this monument versus what else you could have done with $6,000. It was, buy 27 washing machines or X amount of fuel or loaves of bread or milk or things like this. But all of this came from what appears to be a satire or parody website called Lame Duck Dexter.
Yeah.
It looks like it's picking up a little bit of steam, but as I have looked into the comments of the people that are on the page and participating in it, if nothing else, it's sure making a lot of people think.
Yeah, and
and that's not the only one, but go ahead.
No, and I think that's very beneficial. I'm a person who likes to laugh a little bit, and I think one of the things this Lame Duck Dexter website does, when you first look at it, you go, well, boy, they're taking a shot at Dexter for this or shot at Dexter for that. Go past the headline, look at it, and then read it again, and there's a point to everything that gets put up there, and the park bench thing is a perfect example of what he did with that. You can buy one park bench, or you can buy all this stuff for people that need it. Let me see what's best. I think people that need are that'd be a better place to spend it. I've got another little one for you here, and this is my personal favorite. So you're familiar with an area called Four Corners here in the county. For those of you that aren't a little lower on the economic scale in that area, but they've got a nice park over there. And they want to put up a new sign. But the new sign is a 2-sided electronic sign. 4x6 is my understanding. Could be a little bigger. And they let a contract for this 4x6 2-sided electronic sign for $123,000.
Good grief.
Now, to give you some context, I am involved with an unnamed charity. I don't want to embarrass them by being associated with me. Over in Richmond, that is, we purchased a couple of years ago a very nice 2-sided electric sign, bigger than the one they're going to put up. Put it on a concrete pad with a beautiful little brick base around it. It's the kind that you can sit at home laying on the couch.
Oh, and change the messaging
phone, change
on it.
Nice. It has a little moving message. It's very nice, but it's been a great tool for us to communicate with the community. Installed all the electrical work, the concrete work, the brick work, everything, about $80,000 when it was all said and done.
And this one's $123,000
for. I don't think it's quite as nice a sign, but hey.
Well, that brings me to another question, and I don't want to spend all this time picking on Dexter McCoy here, but again, people have raised questions because they have begun to scrutinize the expenditures. That was something else. Was apparently when he got into office, because prior to running for county judge, he was KP George's chief of staff.
That's correct.
When KP George was still a Democrat.
That is correct.
And then I guess the maps were changed. That probably was really the thing that encouraged him to go ahead and run for that office.
Oh, there's a whole nice story there.
You know what? We don't have the time, Greg.
Another day.
But I saw this activist, Candace Matthews, again on that Lame Duck Dexter page,
right,
who had called out the way that contracts and bids were placed and contributions were made and all this. And I mean, it just sounds to me like if you wrote him a check, you got a gig out of it.
Well,
I mean, this is her apparently going through campaign finance reports and all that.
It's honestly something that I have not done. She has says that she has done it.
That's what she does.
So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. But
I mean, obviously, can you enrich yourself that way?
You're not supposed to.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought.
Doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but you're not supposed to.
No, that's what I thought.
As any good politician will tell you, you're not supposed to until you get caught.
Next time we visit, I want to talk a little bit more about you. And I also want to talk a little bit more about some of these other people that are running for offices and that serve the county, primarily justice of the peace, the judges that are out here and things like that. And again, you as the incoming chairman, there's probably a lot of people that would like to know a little bit more about you. But
I'm incredibly interesting. So
I think you're a fascinating man. Truth be known, I met you at a fundraiser for the current Rosenberg mayor, Bill Benton, who I've known for 30 years, and we got talking. And really, this is after you and I met, we decided, well, let's see what we can't do together to help out the party and educate people.
Absolutely.
And so that's really how all of this came together. But that brings up a very good point, and that is, how can we activate other people who maybe like me thought, can I really make a difference? Well, yeah, you can.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways that we could use your help. Just like everything else in politics, money's important.
Sure.
Go to that website. There are some links you can follow to donate money. There's links for the second most important thing, or I shouldn't say second most, but equally important, to volunteer to help.
Well, that's the thing. And I mean, fact of the matter is, there are plenty of people that have more time than money. And then there are some people that just do not have the time but can scratch a check.
Right. So
they're both equally as important.
Yeah. So I would say to folks out there, don't think this is a we're very much a grassroots movement here in the county. Mm-hmm. That $5, $10, $20 check to us is really, really important, and we'll take your money. But that volunteerism is equally, if not more important, because we need people to do all sorts of things to help us reach more people, to knock on doors, to put out signs.
Well, the fact of the matter is that a lot of people have different skills. I mean, it may be someone that is in web design. It could be someone that knows how to do graphics or things like that. I know that I've met people since I got a little bit more involved that they come from all different sorts of walks of life. They're of all different ages and races and backgrounds and upbringings, but they all kind of have this common goal that they would really like to advance the message of the party.
Well, yeah, it's they're people from all over the spectrum. Once again, we're very much a grassroots movement here in the county, and we want people to get involved. If you have a skill set that you think would be of value, even if you think it's not of value, call me. You might be surprised. Yeah. We had a gentleman walk in the other day that one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in your life, very quiet, and he looked at me and he said, "I don't think I've got any kind of skills that really translate into politics," but he said, "I'd like to help wherever I can." I said, "Well, what do you do for a living?" He said, "Well, I'm an accountant." I said, "Ding, ding, ding."
No kidding.
Guess what? We need money people. We need people that understand how to watch and properly manage our money. What people may not understand, everything we do financially has to be tracked and forwarded onto the state.
I would imagine it's under tremendous scrutiny.
Right. I'm no accountant, but we have to have really good, smart people who are involved in that. And he has done a yeoman's amount of work in a short period of time and been incredibly helpful. So don't think there's things that you do that you don't think would be valuable that are indeed valuable.
You are essential. Yeah. And how can people get in touch with you?
Best way is send me an email at chairman@fbcgop.org.
E-I-E-I-O.
E-I-E-I-O.
Well, Greg, thanks so much for coming in here and chatting with me today. And thank you so much for green lighting the construction of our podcast studio.
This is exciting.
Yeah, I hope that the candidates take advantage of. And again, you and I are probably going to visit in here a little bit more often. And I look forward to getting to know you a little bit better, and look forward to all these people out here that watch or listen to this, get to know you a little bit more, and hope they find you as fascinating as I do.
As they say, more to come. And what I always say to everybody, Rowdy, buckle up, Buttercup. Here we come.
Here we go.